Is the IEA saying that countries around the world need to invest in more green energy sources, or is it saying they need to invest in more fossil fuels, or both?
Well, the IEA this morning on his flagship report is describing a rather bleak outlook for global energy. On the one hand, it's saying clearly that the world is not investing nearly enough on green energy like solar and wind to avoid catastrophic climate change. In his own words, we will need to triple that investment to get to the 1.5 degrees scenario that the scientists are saying is needed. But at the same time, the agency is also saying that on current trends, what they see in terms of oil and gas demand, the world is also not investing enough to make sure that we don't face a tight supply situation or higher prices. So it's bad news on both fronts.
Javier, is IEA really an entirely unbiased commentator on this issue? I mean, they are the energy organization for people who basically invest in fossil fuels. So is it kind of fair to say they're entirely neutral in the report? I'm not undermining the quality of it or the fact-based elements, but obviously they may not be completely unbiased in what they put focus on.
No, I disagree on that premise. The International Energy Agency is an independent body that advises consuming countries, not the fossil fuel industry. And in particular, over the last 5 years, if anything, has been rather putting a lot more emphasis on investing in green energy rather than investing in oil.
OK, so if we basically say that, look, we're massively underinvested, so therefore we're still early in this oil price cycle, exactly how early are we in this kind of boom phase in oil? I look back to 2007, 2008. This is the kind of period we were in late 2007. We were starting to think it was getting toppy. It was feeding to inflation figures. But obviously in 2008, then we had up well above $100 a barrel, up to $150 a barrel. Do you think those kind of prices are on the horizon over the next year if we don't do something very quickly? Or if I don't know what the solution is. Can that be averted?
I think that any oil price above the triple digit, above $100, hurts oil demand significantly because it hurts the global economy unless the global economy is firing on all its cylinders. And we are still fighting with the remands of the pandemic. So I don't think that we are there yet. But clearly, in terms of investment in oil, the last few years, investment has dropped significantly, in part because of low prices, in part because pressure from shareholders to cut investment and focus on dividends and on climate change. And certainly, if the demand continues growing at the pace that is growing, and we don't see any significant sign of change there, then the supply and demand outlook looks very tight for the next couple of years, and the potential for high prices is certainly there.
Looking at the shorter-term gas story, Javier, and that has been a focus, of course, for many people here in Europe over recent months and increasingly other parts of the world as well. I read some slightly more positive news on this front yesterday that maybe, well, prices have come off their recent highs, but they're still really elevated, I suppose. But gas storage, I was looking at some charts yesterday that suggested the mild weather we've had of late has allowed for increases in gas storage. Are there any better signs on the gas front?
Well, I think that we are seeing more gas flowing into Europe. We have seen certainly an increase in storage in the last few weeks, which is badly needed. But we are still not out of the woods. The winter is about to start. The temperatures here in London this morning are lower than in the past couple of weeks. So certainly prices have come off a bit from last week, but still we are near record highs. And the main worry is that Europe doesn't have much control of what's going to happen. It's going to depend all on how cold it gets over the winter. So, yes, a bit better than probably about 10 days ago, but certainly we are not out of the woods yet. We still have November, December, January and February to go through.